Welcome to Sweethearts or Rivals. I'm Charlotte.
I'm Justin.
What's on our table today?
Robinson Crusoe, Adventures on the Cursed Isle. Dun dun dun.
It's a cooperative game that plays 1 to 4 players. It could take you up to 120 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And they recommend ages 14 and up.
Yeah.
It's by Z-Man Games.
Yeah.
What's this game about?
This game is about surviving on a deserted isle. Although sometimes it's not deserted. It depends because there's 6 different scenarios. So there's almost like 6 different games in the box.
Right.
It's kind of cool.
How do you win the game?
How do you win the game? You and every other player has to survive the island and get off the island. At least in the first scenario, the castaways.
Right.
Yeah. Again, the different scenarios will give you different objectives. One of them is, I think one of them is just you're not getting off the island, so you have to survive and then like start a family.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there's a whole bunch of different scenarios.
But generally, if someone in your party dies, you lose the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, what this video is a brief overview. We're going to set up the game, show you how to set up,
Yep.
and then just brief, like how a turn works.
Yep.
Because there's all kinds of little rules, which we usually have to look up when we're playing anyway, so
Yeah.
we're not going to get into those rules.
No, we'll be here forever.
Yeah, so we'll just go through what a turn works.
Yep, sounds
and
good.
how to set up. So what comes in the box?
What comes in the box? Do you
Actually, we should probably switch cameras.
Yeah. So let's dive right into the box and see what comes in it.
I'll help.
There we go.
Okay, so here's some scenarios.
Yep. Nice big rule book.
We'll be playing with the castaways on our playthrough, so we can put those in the box cover.
Yep. And for the setup, there's a whole bunch of stuff on how to do a general setup in the rulebook, and then each of the scenarios, and these are double-sided, so there's 6 of them, will tell you if there's anything you need to change in the setup.
We've got a game board.
Okay.
All kinds of bits in the box.
Yep.
So let's have a look at the game board here. It's a big one.
Yeah, that's the main game board. Try to put that up like that so we can all see it nice.
That'll fit.
That's
we
perfect.
can put that there so we can all
Card
see
here.
that.
Excellent. All right, so one of the first things we have to do is we have to pick our characters. All right, now for the characters, you can play the cook, the soldier, the explorer, and the carpenter. And they're kind of nice because on one side it is a male version, on the other side is a female version, but other than that, they're the exact same. But in a 2-player only game, you're not allowed to play with the soldier.
Bye, soldier. Okay, so which one do you want to play with today?
I don't know. Let's see. Usually I'm the carpenter or the explorer, so I'm thinking maybe I'll try the cook.
Okay. And I played with the carpenter last time, so I guess I'll play with the explorer.
Big fat guy. All right.
Back in the box. I'll be the lady explorer.
All right, so there are a ton of bits in this game. So there might be like little cuts where we skip past us doing the boring thing like taking the bits out because there's just a lot of bits. You get a whole bunch of discs, and the first time you open up the box, all the different colored discs can be a little confusing because there's certain colors. Like I saw some nice green bits that I could have used for my player colors, but no, you can't use those for player colors because green is for the exploration, so you don't touch those. So for player colors, we have orange, blue, black, or yellow.
That's dismal. I guess I'll have to be orange. It's the closest to pink.
There you go.
Even though it's ugly.
I shall be blue, which means the black and the yellow go back in the box. For a 2-player game, you're supposed to play with Friday as kind of a helper, and he has, it's white or purple, I can't remember which one, but one of those discs. And if you want to make the game a little bit easier, you can also have the dog, which is a purple disc. But we'll just play with the straight second 2-player setup that they recommend. Each of us gets one of these little red cubes, and that goes on the far left of our health meter.
On the square?
Yep, right on the square. And then Friday has one as well. There we go. So for setup, you get the board out, you get your character, you take the castaway or the whatever scenario you're using. We're going to use the castaways. Next thing you do is you take one of these little plastic white cubes and you put this on the morale chart right up here at 0. There we go. Next you have a whole bunch of these invention cards, and there's two sides of these. On this side where it's kind of dark and has a little symbol of the kind of land you have to discover before you can build it, this is the invention idea side. And then when you actually build it, that's the tool side. So there are 9 of them that have these little arrows. I wonder if I can show that a little bit better. They got these little arrows. You use those in every game. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And they go right here.
I can do that.
Okay.
And I also have to look for the fireplace for you and the shortcut for me, because it's our special card.
So here's the shortcut for you.
Thanks.
And the fireplace. And there's the fireplace for me. So these are special inventions that come with each character. And should we get those built, we'll get 2 determination tokens, which can help you use your special abilities. Plus they also come with other benefits. And you take this great big deck of other inventions, there's a whole bunch of them, and you shuffle them up, and you don't look at them because of course you can see what they are on both sides.
Right.
And you take 5 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Let's see what we have here. We have the corral.
Okay.
Which I could read off after. A bed. A basket. A raft. And drums.
And drums.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now this little black cube here, this goes on the top of our weapon chart, which is in the top right corner.
Oh my. That's
right next to the
away.
piece of wood, which represents 0. We have no weaponry. There you go. The next thing we do is we take this right here is the start player marker, so that'll go down here. Out of all these tiles, there's one that has a volcano on it, and on this side it has a beach, so that's where we start off, just like that. And it has the resources of wood and fish on it, and we take the rest of these and we just shuffle them up, and then you put them next to the board. When we go exploring on the rest of the island, we'll draw from these to see what we find. There we go. All right, the next thing you do is you take these adventure decks, and there are 3 different kinds. There's 3 different colors, so brown, green, and kind of just gray. But they also have the symbol on them, which is kind of nice. So the brown is for the building, the green's for exploring, and the gray is for gathering. Thank you. So you shuffle those up and put them on their spaces. And you take this deck here. These are the beast cards. And you take those out, and you also shuffle them. And you put them off to the side because right now we don't know where to go hunt yet, so there's nothing in the hunt deck. But later on, when things go into the hunt deck, they come from here. Now there's this little card here. I'll try to show it off here. And what this card is when you're playing a certain player count, which isn't a 2-player game, you put that over here, and it changes what that ability does. But since we're playing a 2-player game, we don't use this at all. And then you take the starting item deck, and you shuffle these, and we each start off with 1. Well, the group starts off with 2.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, because we can both use them, so it's not like this one's yours and this one's mine. So we start off today with an empty bottle.
Well, that's +1 weapon.
Yep.
Twice.
Yeah. We start off with hammer and nails.
That's handy too.
And then you take 2 of these.
I must have had that in my purse.
Yep. And maybe I had the empty bottle from when I was. It had wine in it. There you go.
The big cook.
Yeah, cooking wine. So we just put those on there, and then we can use each of those twice each, and then they're gone. They're used up.
Not each of us twice.
No.
Each of these twice.
That's correct. Now, when you go exploring around the rest of the island, you're going to get these explorer tokens. So you take these and you put them in some kind of cup so you can't see them, and then you shake them all up and put those off the side of the board, and they give you a whole bunch of cool little bonuses, and some of them even have these weird little shapes on them that will change depending on the different scenarios. So they're all right here. Then you have the event deck. Now the event deck is a little confusing at first. All of them are kind of a green with a dark background, except there's 3 of them that are more of a bluish background with an olive green flag. And these are specific to the scenario. So for castaways, we take the captain's chest and the wrecked lifeboat, and we just don't use them. But the food crates goes immediately right here in the event section of the board. Then when you take this event deck and you flip it over, half of them will have a symbol that is like a little question mark, and I'll show you where it is. It's right here. There's different colors to the question mark, but those need to be shuffled separately from these ones that have, instead of the little question mark, they have a little book icon. So you take both of these decks and you shuffle them. There's a total of 12 possible rounds in this scenario. So what we do is we divide that by 2, which means 6, and we take 6 from each of these.
Okay.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I'm going to cut it.
Okay.
4, 5, 6.
Good. The rest of these cards go right out of the game, which means there's going to be a whole lot of different events that you'll never possibly see unless you play this game dozens and dozens and dozens of times. And you take the 2 sets of different event cards, you shuffle them together, and that becomes the event deck.
We must be just about through setup.
Almost. So there's our event deck. Now for other things, there's a whole lot of bits and pieces that represent things that you're going to use a lot of, so we'll put those out here in our tray. So we got the brown cubes, which are wood. We've got the white cubes here. This is fur.
From bunnies, I guess.
From bunnies or hides, whatever you.
Well, it's white. What else is white?
Whatever you hunt down and take.
Bunnies.
Bunnies. Then the yellow cubes. These are perishable
Bananas.
food, like bananas. And you got orange cubes. There's not as many orange cubes, but you have them. And those are non-perishable food, so they won't be destroyed at the end of every round. Then you have these tokens right here. And they look kind of like little compasses. And these are determination tokens. And you get those mostly for failing to do stuff. But they can help trigger special abilities.
Right, because the more you fail at something, the more determined you get.
That's right.
For some people.
You got a whole bunch of other tokens, a nice big baggie here full of different tokens that may or may not come out depending on what happens during the game. You have to look through them, and you have to find this token right here.
The butterfly.
Yep. And it's like a little charcoal X drawn on a map. And that goes right here because that's where currently we are staying. Because really that's all the only place we've discovered. What else do? You take a white plastic cube and you put it on round 1 of the castaways, because that's where we are. And then you take a black plastic cube and you place that on the shovel, because we've discovered the land required to make a shovel, which is the beach. And that is pretty much how you set up the game. Again, you do have to check the specific scenario to see, what the goal of the game is and anything you have to do to change setup. So the goal of this scenario for castaways is we have to get the fire, which is over here, built, which is right here. And this little section right here that shows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns of wood, we have to have that full of wood. So basically we need a giant bonfire ready to go by turns 10, 11, or 12 in order to signal the boat to come rescue us.
Right.
Yep. Specific things with the scenario. The first 3 rounds are nice and sunny and pleasant. Yay. Once we get into rounds 4, 5, and 6, we're going to start rolling one of the weather dice. And I'll get the dice out.
We roll the orange one.
Yep. So the orange one are rain clouds, although there is one winter cloud on there. So we start rolling that for rounds 4, 5, and 6, so things get a little bit worse. For rounds 7 all the way to 12, we roll the rainy weather die, the snowy weather die, and the hungry animal die. So things are very bad at that point. So these are all the sections of the board. How a round plays through is, first thing you do is the event deck. You flip up an event, something happens immediately, you resolve that, and then it goes right in this section. If there's already a card here, this pushes over here, and the new event card goes there. If there's 2 cards here, and another event card comes, it shuffles them all down, and whatever's here goes off the board, and there's usually something bad that happens because you didn't resolve something. So there's a series of pushing events that do things, provide opportunities. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad.
I've only had one good thing happen to me ever.
They're mostly bad, yeah. This is true. Then you go to the morale phase, and the morale phase is right up here. Whoever is the first player becomes affected by the morale. So if the morale is good, they'll get some determination tokens. If it's high enough, they'll even get health. But if it's low, they'll lose determination tokens. And if you lose, let's say you lose 2 determination tokens, and you only have 1, you lose that 1, and then you take a wound. So you're just so demoralized. Step 3 would be for... Oh, right. For step 3 or phase 3 of the round, whatever tile you're currently staying on, you automatically gather resources. So for the first round, we're going to get a wood and a fish. And that goes up here in our immediately available
supply.
Our immediately available supply. Good. After that, step 4 is all this stuff here. And what you do is you take your pawns and you place them out on the actions that you want to do. This is where a lot of the meat of the game comes from. And there's a lot of tricky things you can do. So, for example, say I wanted to explore. I could put one of my markers down there. If I only put one marker, I'm going to have to roll these dice to see if I'm successful. That means I'm successful. This means I took a wound while doing it. And the question mark means I have to flip this over and have an adventure. Yay! They're usually bad. You can get a blank, so there's no adventure. Instead of victory or success, you can get this, looks like 2 screws. They're actually, you failed, so you get 2 determination tokens. So you might not have done it, but at least you get some tokens to help you out. And of course you can roll nothing on that die so you don't take a wound. So that's if you only place 1 marker. If you place 2 markers, it's just automatically successful. So there's no rolling of the dice, no possible adventure, no possible wounds. But for that round, you've only accomplished 1 thing.
Right.
Yeah. Alright, so there's a lot of things that you can build, so I'll just point them out here. If you want to build right here, that is building a shelter. It requires, with a 2-player game, either 2 wood or 1 fur. And it's important because at the end of the round, if there's no shelter, everyone takes a wound from just sleeping outside. You're going to want to have a roof for your shelter to keep you from getting rained on and snowed on, so that's right here. And again, it takes 2 wood or 1 fur, and you can build a level to the roof. And as more weather dice come out, there's going to be more weather clouds, so you'll need a better and better roof to protect you. You can build a palisade around your hut, which protects you from storms and creatures and monsters. Monsters. There's no monsters.
Beasts.
Beasts. There you go.
Bunnies.
There might be monsters in some other scenarios because we haven't played them all. Who knows? But that can protect you. So again, there's levels to that. Over here, you can build your weaponry up. And this is going to be important because sometimes when you hunt beasts and monsters, they'll actually reduce your weapon level, like they break your weapons. So you want to keep that high up. And this one here only costs 1 wood to bring it up a level. And then you can build all of these. So those are kind of like blueprints for possible inventions that you have to build. So we have a little black disc on the shovel, which means we could build that. As you discover mountains, plains, hills, or rivers, it'll open up more things you can build. And we'll put little cubes on them to represent that you can build those right away. We have the fire, which gives you the fireplace and a determination token. Building the knife gives you +1 to your weaponry. Building the rope gives you rope.
I think the fire just gives you fire too.
Yeah.
Like there is a separate card somewhere for fireplace, but we don't have it.
Oh, I have that here.
Oh, there you go.
So I need the fire built in order to build the fireplace.
Right.
So that makes sense too. And the same thing with the rope. The rope by itself doesn't really do anything, but you need the rope to build other things.
Right.
The cure, which helps against poison and stuff. The shovel, which by itself doesn't do anything, but it'll allow you to build some stuff later. Bricks will give you bricks and will give you +1 to your palisade. The dam requires rivers and a piece of wood, and it will give you +2
food.
Non-perishable food. That's nice. The pot. If you build the pot,
food can be +1 heart during the night phase.
Yeah. So normally during the night phase you have to eat, but you can only eat 1 and the rest of it just goes away. With the pot, you can actually eat extra food to regain wounds. That's important. If you build the map, it gives you an extra one of these tokens that's specifically green, which allows you to use that for exploring. So basically I could put it here with the green marker and explore that space automatically successful. Right. So that's kind of useful, like that.
This one has a lot of writing on it. The corral's rope plus wood. Mm-hmm. Cover food on any tile adjacent to your camp with a black cube and put +1 food on the tile of your camp.
Nice.
Oh, so it's like you herded something into your camp.
Yeah. And get extra food for
area.
it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
A
Ooh,
bed.
The bed.
Oh, during this phase here, not only do you get a heart, you get 2 hearts and a determination token.
Nice. So resting becomes more powerful.
Yeah.
Nice.
A basket. During a successful gather, you get 1 additional resource of the gathered resource. Can be used for only 1 action per round.
Nice. So gathering resources becomes more powerful. That's good.
And the raft must give you an extra explorer and an extra...
It's one or the other.
One or the other to be used.
So you can gather or explore easier.
Right. And then drums gives you +2 determination tokens during the morale phase.
So every morale phase, you add a +2 to whatever you have here.
Oh my, that's handy too.
Yep. That's cool.
Some of these might help us win this time.
Yeah. Also, on the scenario card itself, there are usually 2 inventions that are available that aren't cards. They're just, you got to remember they're there. So.
And it's hard to remember that they're there, actually.
Yeah, you got to keep that in mind. The hatchet requires mountains and a piece of wood, and it gives you 1 extra piece of wood on your tile every round you're gathering stuff. The mast requires rope, wood, and a fur, and it gives you +3 wood that just goes immediately into the pile. So 2 very helpful things. The other things on the scenario card is sometimes when you're exploring you'll get these little symbols. They look like a totem. For the castaway scenario there's no effect, but for other scenarios there would be. And then at the very end of the game you can actually like get victory points to see just how well you did if you actually succeed, which we never done. But if you do succeed, you get a victory point for every heart that you have left on your characters. You get 2 points for every level of weapon you have left over, 3 victory points for every level of roof you have left over, 4 victory points for each of the pile columns, and then 2 victory points for every determination token you have left over. Or no, sorry, for every palisade level. So you can actually, if you succeed at winning, write down just how well you did.
So it is semi-co-op then?
Well, no, I don't think it's separate. It's just, this is how well we did this time.
Oh,
and then you can try to beat your score.
It's bragging rights for when you're talking to your buddies who have this game.
Yeah.
I see.
Not only did I beat Castaways, but I beat it with 27 points.
I don't think that's possible.
No, I don't think so either. So that's the building actions, all the things you can build. The next action you can take is you can go gathering.
Yep.
And that requires 1 or 2 people, and you can't actually do it until you have another one of these tiles adjacent to your camp. So you would take 1 to go gather the resources from that tile, and then have an adventure and roll to see if you're successful, or again 2 to do it automatically. And then the last one is exploring, which I kind of already showed. You can go here, you can do that, roll them, and you get to actually take more tiles and place them out. So you've explored more of the island.
Right. You can place a pawn here,
Mm-hmm.
and it will give you 2 determination tokens and make your morale go up.
Yep, so you're rearranging the camp.
Useful. And you can put a pawn here to get +1 health.
So you're resting.
Right.
Yep. After you've gone through and placed all your pawns, then you actually take the actions. And it's important that the actions kind of go from left to right. So you can't explore and then gather from the tile you just explored, because gathering resources happens first. So that's important.
Mm-hmm.
After you're done taking all your actions, you go through a weather phase, which means you roll dice if it's that level of the
scenario.
Thank you. And then finally you do the night phase. At night you have to eat 1 food each, or you take 2 wounds. And then also at night you can move your camp if you want. So once you've explored and found a better tile, you can move it to there, and that can be your base. Doing that early on isn't too bad, but doing it later in the game, your roof and your palisade, basically their level drops to half of what you had it at, because you're leaving behind a bunch of stuff. So it is better to do that early on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Castaways. We've got 12 rounds to explore the island, build a whole bunch of stuff, get a fire going, get all this wood here, and we have to make it to round 10. Like, even if we did all that in round 4, we haven't won. We have to survive till round 10 at least.
How could you do all that in round 4? You can only put 1 per column, and there's 5 columns.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And there's a whole bunch of more tokens and things and all this stuff that'll come out, but those come out per scenario.
The game, yeah,
and then you see them during the game.
Right.
So that is a brief overview of...
It didn't seem brief.
No.
It's a big game.
It is a big game. It's a big game with lots of moving parts. So there's a lot behind it. But that's the setup for the Scenario 1 Castaways. And what we'll do is we'll just leave the setup as we have it, and we'll do an overview, or playthrough.
We'll skip to our pull playthrough.
Playthrough, yep. So we'll do that. So there should be a link here to the next video, which is our playthrough. Right,
and if you don't want to see spoilers from any of the cards and not the gameplay, there'll be a link for our review.
Yeah, excellent. All right, we'll be right back. Excellent. Thanks for watching. We're done.